Selling lies and buying time, killing people next in line. Lower class and social slime, they don't matter. Genocide, sick from water, sick from air. Making money, they don't care. Caesar shit, force them air. Fuck them back, it's only for they bomb. They shoot, they kill, they massacre, rape. They burn the kids, no one leaves countries. Lie to your face, fight and die, 'cause God forgives. Selling lies and buying time, killing people next in line. Lower class and social side, they don't matter. Genocide, sick from water, sick from air. Making money, they don't care. See the shit, force a bear. Fuck them back, that's only fair. They bomb, they shoot, they kill, they massacre, rape. They burn the kids, no one leaves countries. Lie to your face, fight and die, 'cause God forgives. Yeah. Coming back around again.
Welcome to the show. I'm your host, Ron Stevens, and this is Rock the Boat right here on UCY.TV, my favorite internet radio station. It is the 7th of November. It's actually sunny today, a little cool, but sunny. Not as cool as Alberta and Vancouver, Lower Mainland. They're already opening up warming shelters, I read today in Vancouver area, which is a little ridiculous. But hey, it's global warming, right? It's a historic day. I don't know when this was, yesterday probably, or was it today? It must have been yesterday, November the 5th. Valerie Plante is the first female to be elected mayor of Montreal. So there's a lot of hoopla going on, which is the same as the hoopla that went on in Calgary when they got their first Muslim mayor, who now is in his third term, although anybody that watched that election can pretty much bank that he was put there. So, of course, we have written a new page in history books of Montreal, 375 years after Jane Mance. Montreal finally has its first female mayor. Plante told supporters at her victory party Sunday, referring to the female French settler who co-founded Montreal. And I think if the co-founder who founded Montreal could get out of her grave, she would punch all of these new century, the 21st century politicians square in the face. Anyways, she was elected leader of her left-leaning municipal political party, Project Montreal, in 2016, and headed in this election campaign with little public name recognition among voters. So she's a leaning left. Well, doesn't seem there's anything in this entire nation that's leaning right. she kicked off her campaign in mid-August with the unveiling of a cheeky slogan declared her the man for the job. I got people talking about the ambitious underdog seeking to unseat the political veteran. And so I was at a page for a bit today that was all excited about this woman, and I just wrote something in there. You know, I hope she's not another one of the UN global internationalists. So I just grabbed Valerie Plant's name and stuffed it into Google, and it took all of about, a minute and a half to find out probably why she was elected. And what I found funny in there, people were actually mad on this Facebook. This is how bent things are getting. There were people complaining that the headlines were referring to her as the first female mayor. Now, she is a woman. She's not a trans or nothing. She is an actual woman. And people were having a difficult time with the word female. People were saying, I thought we were past that. I thought we were past all that male-female stuff. There's only two sexes, male and female, folks. That's it. But they're all bummed out about it. You know, glad she got in, but wish that she would have, or the media would have used a headline that would reflect a pronoun that these people could handle. But when you got 70-some pronouns, surely you're going to have 72 people. It doesn't matter what pronoun you use, you're going to have 72 people ticked off, or at least 71 of them. So they don't like the word woman, and they don't like the word female. They're glad someone, I guess, I don't know what they're glad about. I mean, you don't like the word woman, and you don't like the word female, but you're all happy that she got elected. So Luc Fernandez, who preceded Plant as Project Montreal leader, predicted in an interview with Radio Canada that she would take immediate steps to reassure the corporate sector, who may fear the party's left-wing platform. All of them, from the small shop owners to startups to big investors and the Bombardiers of the world, he said, and also giving Montreal as a city that corresponds with Project Montreal, more green, more human, more family-focused, depending what the definition of a family is, of course. Plant also addressed Montreal's English-speaking community, saying that she wants to work with them and that Francophones and Anglophones have more similarities than difference. She said she would also be looking to Quebec government and Prime Minister Justin Tinkerbell Trudeau's Liberal government in Ottawa to contribute the social housing and public transport promises she made throughout the campaign. So she made a bunch of promises about social housing and public transport, and now that she's mayor, she's got to go to the Quebec government and the federal government to say, hey, you know, I made these promises, you want to fork up some cash? And they will, because, well, she's left-leaning. I invite you to recognize the strong message the Montrealers are sending today, Plant said in his own speech Sunday night. Caudray said he was quitting city politics with his head held high. Montreal is an exceptional city, he said. We have rediscovered our integrity. We have rediscovered Joie de Vivre, the Pride. Throughout his term as mayor, was omnipresent in public events and social media, but tended towards micromanagement. Anyways, so these people were happy and not happy and whatever. But when I went and looked this woman up, where did I find that thing? Oh, where the hell did I find that? Oh, here it is. She was the director of this outfit called Girls Action. So I put in Facebook, I hope she's not one of these UN globalist internationalist nut bars. But when I looked it up, the foundation or the nonprofit, and looked at who the sponsors were. Yeah, she's another globalist, and the people are that's sponsoring this Girls Action are the globalists. And so this thing here is what it does, is it collects young girls and it molds young girls, it propagandizes young girls into this globalist future. Anyways, TELUS Toronto Community Investment Board, Ontario Trillium Foundation. Now the Ontario Trillium Foundation forks out money to people like David Suzuki and every other NGO there is. This is your tax money. This is what really irritates me more, I think, than anything. You work hard, you pay your taxes, then your tax money is siphoned off from what it's supposed to be used for. Run the government, infrastructure, things like that. But they siphon off your tax dollars and then send it over these other outfits who are working to bring the whole damn country down. I'd like to just see everybody tomorrow morning just refuse to pay any damn taxes. I don't care what they are, just quit paying them. They just keep digging in your pocket deeper and deeper and deeper. We've got the Foundation de Grand Montreal, the Canadian Women's Foundation, Laidlaw Foundation, Silver Dollar Foundation, the George Hogg Family Foundation. Okay, this is like like the Rockefeller Foundation, where they just funnel money out in order to crush our country. University of Western Ontario, Status of Women Canada, Government of Canada. The Canadian Heritage, Government of Canada. Justice Canada, Government of Canada. Service Canada, Government of Canada. All this is all your tax money, folks. The Government of Quebec, the Public Health Agency of Canada. You also had Citizen and Immigration Canada. And let's see, the McConnell Foundation, the Green Shield Canada Foundation, the InSpirit Foundation, PricewaterhouseCoopers Canada Foundation, Canadian Institute for Health Research, McGill University, the Vancouver Foundation, And the foundation lies waiter. All these people are pumping money into this thing. This broad was the, I don't know if to call her broad because I don't. It seems female and woman seems to take people off, so I'll just call her broad. And I'm not saying that derogatorily, but the fact is the new mayor of Montreal, just like the old mayor of Montreal, is a globalist puppet. It's even worse too, because a lot of people don't realize this, that according to the federal government of Canada, municipalities, which is Montreal, is a municipality, the federal government doesn't recognize any municipality in the country as a form of government. They refer to them more like a business. That's exactly what they are, a business. And they don't. Nobody in that council or any council represents the people that actually think they voted, and you didn't vote because you can't vote. You vote as a proxy for a legal entity. So Montreal is a great city, and I've seen some people really ticked off about what's going on there now, because the globalist planners got their hooks into the place, and that won't bode well for anybody. Now, I also saw a thing in, I'm not going to be able to find that one likely, but the number of people that are homeless in California is off the freaking charts, man. And unless you're an immigrant, then you're looked after. But, I just wrote a little note saying, the whole plan of the globalists is turn the West into a third world nation. Because only by turning the West into a third world nation, or close to it, will it fit into the definition, their definition of sustainable. They don't want you using water, they don't want you using electricity, they don't want you to own a home, they don't want you to own a private vehicle, they don't want you to own air conditioning, and all that crap. You will be totally and completely controlled by the corporate governments and corporations. And if you study what happened in Russia after the Iron Curtain fell, is exactly what's going on in North America. Everything that you built and paid for is being sold off to multinational corporations who will be your new government. And that's bad news. So anyway, lots of hoopla in Montreal about the new mayor. And here in my neck of the woods, I saw a paper some years back, maybe, I don't know, 5 years maybe longer. And it was called what was it called? Repopulation of Rural Ontario. And after I read that paper, we had the Muslim youth canvassing the town with their little flyers, the religion of peace. And the local editor who played this all up, I see he's being, warmly, he got a very nice write-up in a Muslim website. And so I don't know what it was, maybe a month ago, maybe last 3 weeks ago, somewhere in there, I saw that South Huron rather, is going to try and recruit immigrants into the community to fill all those jobs that none of these white people seem to be able to find these jobs, but they want to go and bring immigrants into these small rural communities. Which was, in that paper that I read some years back. So then I see a new one come out. When did that come out? November the 6th, yesterday. Grey County, which is just north of the county I'm in, it's the next county up. And I'd seen a piece a few weeks ago where the mayors got together and talked about, importance of repopulating. It's not that we're depopulated. But anyways, a Grey County reaches out to newcomers is the title. They have a logo there, Grey County, color it your way. Well, it ain't getting colored white, I'll tell you that. So a 15-month new to Grey pilot project is aimed at attracting and retaining newcomers to the community. Now, I'm not sure if that's in Grey County, but it'll be awful damn close to it. A little town, Dundalk, Ontario. So, either Muslim or East Indian, but a lot of Indians are Muslim. Who's a builder down near Toronto, came up and offered the small hospital in the area $500,000 over a period of time. Well, of course, the local officials and everything get all excited. Isn't this wonderful? What a great guy. And he's going to build a subdivision of 800 homes near Dundalk. Well, there's nothing near Dundalk. Dundalk is a tiny little place. And what are we going to do with these 800 homes? Well, it's going to be filled up with his people. Anyways, I'm just going to run through this quickly. The county used provincial funding, more of your tax dollars, to recruit an outreach coordinator to help grow Grey County's profile as a welcoming and supportive community. Now, this is the very same thing they did with the windmills. Every county said the same thing. Oh, we're so happy to be involved in this clean, green, free energy. Really? You know how many people you drove out of their homes? You know how far they drove up the electricity price for this clean, green, free energy? The media always spins it. And like I said earlier, every single council, municipal council, is in the child position of the province. The province created the municipalities, and they're in the child position, and therefore they do what the parent tells them. Then they spin this out in the local media like these local councillors and whatnot, and the mayors have this brilliant idea. They don't have any ideas. If they had an idea, they'd put a stop to all this bullshit that's going on. Anyways, the outreach coordinator will develop a newcomer network, coordinate events and workshops, as well as create resources and toolkits for newcomers, communities, and employers. Warden Barfoot, the warden of the county, says one of the biggest challenges businesses in Grey face is finding skilled and qualified workers. He says attracting newcomers to Canada can expand our workforce, grow communities, and fill them schools up with Islamic prayer sessions, I guess. Jacinda Rudolph started her job as outreach coordinator on Monday, October the 30th. Rudolph has an honors BA in international development studies, okay, international, and spent 6 years working for Immigrant Settlement Association of Nova Scotia. And now Nova Scotia is the epitome of Agenda 21. They've split Nova Scotia down the middle. And if you live on the one side, there's no work. Your property values have massively tanked. And if you move to the other side, the Halifax region, you're paying almost Toronto prices for a house. So the one half of Nova Scotia is being rewilded. And they have a shitload of immigrants in there. Anyways, for the past 2 years, Jacinda has served as the executive director of Launchpad Youth Activity and Technology Center in Hanover. She will remain the executive director part-time until end of December to allow a smooth transition. Now, this is her quote. I have always been passionate about working alongside newcomers as they bring innovation, and there's that damn word again, diversity, to local communities. We are fortunate in that we already have an established network of dedicated individuals who will complement this project and propel it forward, says Rudolph. Grey County has some exceptional leaders and great potential in creating an attractive and welcoming region for newcomers. Newcomers are vital and are a vital and growing part of Ontario communities. They contribute to the social, economic, and cultural enrichment of our province, says Laura Ambonese, Minister of Citizenship and Immigration. Grey County is investing in a bright future by supporting programs to help engage, support, and integrate newcomers into our province so that they can thrive and excel. Well, there's all kinds of people up in this neck of the woods who could have been trained for what jobs there are. I'm not exactly sure. I would think a lot of these people are going to end up on the welfare rolls, or the immigration, I think, pays better than welfare as they come into these communities. They've already set up little we have an Islamic center here in my little town of 7,500 people. I came here, 3 years ago? Very low key, right? But it's the old foot in the door nonsense, right? So, we haven't really experienced too much of this yet, although down at the beach this summer for a bit, that was the most Muslims I've ever seen in one spot myself. There was a whole whack of them on the beach in these weird costumes and that. Not real beach gear, I'll tell you that. And that kind of shocked me and a friend I was with. What the hell? So, rural Ontario is about to be inundated with immigrants. So hang on to your hat. Now, I saw a lady today, if I can find that. not sure if I'll be able to find it, but this was actually a woman that said this. And again, you see, I'm talking about women again. You know, I don't know why I'm always talking about women, but it seems that the women have a little more, I don't know, jam, whatever you want to call it, than the gentlemen do. You know, it was kind of interesting to see her comment, and it kind of made me smile. If I can dig it out here. It really kind of blew me away for a lady to be saying something like this, but they seem to be somewhat more on the ball. Yeah, this is Lise Trudel. No way. Keep them in the city. We don't want them in the rural areas. Could become dangerous. We do have guns, and we'll use them if need be on goat fuckers, women abusers, and child molesters, etc. And she's got some thumbs up on that. Another one said, this is how terrorist training camps start. So I don't know what kind of welcome they're going to get up here in the rural areas. Now, somebody else put in here, every unemployed person in Ontario should be messaging their MP and everyone involved in this pilot program saying they want these so-called jobs. So, I don't know. I don't think they're going to get that great a welcome in here. You know, the people got suckered by this renewable energy windmill crap, and it has just screwed things up large. And so now when we come with the next lift of nonsense, which is the migrant influx. Now, speaking of migrants, I can't even remember what this is called, actually. I didn't know this was even going on. You know, I know everybody that every time somebody squeals their tires on a rainbow crosswalk, it's all over the media, or if somebody looks crooked at a trans, it's all over the media. But I knew about Winnipeg, the Winnipeg Inland Port, and we talked about this years and years and years ago, and I can't even remember what it's called. Was it the North American? It's the main arteries that they're building. They're building one east to west and one from Mexico up through the United States into Winnipeg, which is the center of North America. But this one here is a little bit different. Now, this is getting a little bit spooky. I had a guy mentioning last night, Richard Fadden, who used to be the head of CSIS, which is our, I don't know what you call it, Secret Service Department or whatever. And he was talking a few years ago about politicians in China, and something not right here. Well, he got hauled up in front of an all-party committee or a Senate committee or whatever the hell it was, and he stood his ground. They raked his ass over the coals, and they're all saying, no, there's no nothing going on with the Chinese. And Richard Fadden, who's been a government worker forever, Worked in foreign affairs and different stuff. I mean, he knows his stuff. But they raked him over the coals, and he lost his job as the head of CSIS. I think they put him in a closet because where nobody's ever going to interview him again. So anyways, we've heard of these states within states, you know, Washington, D.C., the Vatican, London City. But we also heard about new city-states, basically, and that are not bound by the law of the area. So we have this, I never heard of this thing till today. I knew about the one in Winnipeg, but it makes sense because we knew they were going to go run a corridor east and west, north and south and east and west. So it's called the Global Transportation Hub in Regina, Saskatchewan. Now, it's within the city limits of Regina. It has 1,800 acres or something. And this is exactly what we don't want. Tenants of the Chinese mega mall at the Global Transport Hub don't have to hire Canadians. And these city-states and that, the ones I read about down in the States, it looked like they weren't going to have to, while this is legislated by the government, again, it's these arm's length things. Those who legislated don't have any authority over what they legislated. So it's actually outside the reach. The tenants of the Chinese mega mall being built at the Global Transportation Hub are not required to hire Canadians like other immigrant established businesses in Regina. Brighton View Development International is constructing a wholesale mall which the company says will house 300 businesses run by would-be Chinese immigrants wanting to sell their wares in the North American market. Okay, so again, we don't manufacture anything in North America anymore, or so little, it's ridiculous. So now we're bringing the Chinese in. This all goes back to Rockefeller, Morris Strong, and the other politicians that took all of our manufacturing away out of our countries and then shipped this Chinese crap. So now they're coming, I said this a long time ago, they're going to end up setting up shop. They're going to set up manufacturing plants outside of the labor laws of our countries. All to the benefit of the corporations. Rules for the Saskatchewan Immigrant Nominee Program say if an immigrant establishes a company in Regina or Saskatoon, they have to employ at least 2 Canadians or permanent residences. That's potentially 600 new jobs at Brighton View's Global Trade and Exhibition Center. But the Premier's office has confirmed that rule doesn't apply to businesses in the DTH, even though it is inside the city Regina limits. A spokesperson explained that's because, according to its founding legislation, the DTH is designated as its own municipality. So the Chinese have established their own municipality inside the municipality of Regina, like a airport authority or a First Nations reserve. It is accurate to say that because the businesses would be outside of Saskatoon or Regina, there were no employee requirements, a spokesman wrote in an email. The NDP says the provincial government is so desperate to make the Chinese mega mall successful that it's manipulating Saskatchewan's immigration rules. It's somewhat shocking to see our government so twisting it out of its original intent. Clearly, this hiring exemption is for communities like a couple of Indian reserves, I think. She said it's surprising that here we have an entity, a government-created entity within city limits geographically, is using these exemptions. The mega mall is being promoted as in Regina. Promoters of Brighton House, GTEC in China advertise this exemption from hiring Canadians as one of the project's benefits. They also tout the fact that the facility is in the city of Regina. In fact, on WeChat, a popular social media platform in China, the government of Saskatchewan itself says the GTH is located in Regina, the capital of Saskatchewan. It goes on to point out the city center is 11 kilometers away. This is consistent with the map of the City of Regina website, which clearly shows the GTH is within city limits. In addition, the government's own land registry says all of the property located in the hub is within the city of Regina. The NDP wonders why the government decided to deem the GTH as exempt from the hiring rule. Here they're going out of their way to ensure that Saskatchewan people are not employed and that foreign SNIP workers and entrepreneurs are going to be hired over Saskatchewan people. I don't think that was the original intent. Of course it was. The province's immigration rules are also grant immigration businesses or immigrant businesses established outside of Regina or Saskatoon other benefits which apply to the GTEC project as well. Is it not in this particular piece? The fact is that this is a foreign city within, or a foreign state, or a foreign city within a Canadian city. And because of that, they are outside the planning rules of the city. They are outside the bylaws of the city. In fact, this Global Transportation Hub writes its own bylaws and does its own planning. So they're outside of the reach. Now, wouldn't that be nice if we could do that ourselves? You know, we're bogged down. We gotta do what the city planners say. We gotta do what the city building inspectors say. We have to follow their bylaws. We have to do everything that they tell us to do. But here we have this Chinese outfit, which is completely outside the reach of the city it's set up in. Now, if anybody remembers what the name of that road is, coming out of Mexico and coming up through the middle of the States and coming up to Winnipeg and then branching to the west. So this is all about bringing Chinese stuff in. And eventually, Eventually, they will set up Chinese factories here on lands that have been removed from our nations, outside of our nations. So we're going to have China here, but we won't, the governments won't be able to tell them what the labor laws are. They will be Chinese labor laws, Chinese wages for the benefit of the corporations. And I said this a long time ago because what it does, it saves a lot of money for the corporations. You know, we send our raw materials over to China. They manufacture the stuff, so we got to ship the stuff there, then ship it back. We've already got the resources here. So why do that? Why not just set up separate states outside this state, buy the raw materials here, have our Chinese workers manufactured for dirt wages, and then we can sell it. Like, we are so at war and don't even know it. It's ridiculous. We've got the Muslims flooding. The gates are wide open. Come on in. If you don't want to come in the front door, well, sneak in the back door, the side door, and slide over to one of our multiple sanctuary cities where they'll look after you and the police won't bother you and yada, yada, yada. And then we got the Chinese invasion. And we're just wandering around in North America going doo-dee-doo-dee-doo. Like, we're losing this, people. We're losing it. Now, you got the maps, and I really can't remember the North American something, but what they're doing is they're going to run up the middle through these cities. And this is all part of the rewilding program as well. Because basically anything that's off the beaten track isn't really going to get serviced. It will all be rewilded. Now, I guess when they call them ports, you know, they call them inland ports, but a port, let me look that up. What's the definition of a port? I don't know. Because most of the words we use port, a line, a harbor, a haven, mountain pass, port to carry, getaway, port to carry, port. Okay, so it's a harbor or a haven. Let's see. Place of refuge, an asylum, an entrance. And yeah, so maybe because it's a port, it can step outside the law, I guess. What is this? I just got a note from Liza. How you doing, Liza? Going to this on Saturday and don't know what to expect because Black Lives Matter and Antifa are expected to show up and shut it down. It's only 6 kilometers from where I am, and finally found an apartment last week, as you know. So I don't know exactly what this is. It's a YouTube video, and it looks like it says stifling of free speech. Well, let me click on it here for a minute. Oh my God. This ain't going to play for me here, I don't think, but this is, I don't trust this guy at all. Now, this isn't playing for me. I'd have to open it up in another thing. It says tickets November the 11th. Tickets available at Brown Paper Tickets. The panel discussion is November 11th at the Canadian Christian College. Show more. Organizer and host Miss Serena Singh. A form of social work and political and social commentator you can find out more about. Panelists include me, as well as Dr. Sad and Oren Amity. Let's see, he's a professor at Concordia University in Montreal, host of the Mutual Asia YouTube channel, The Sad, author of Consumer Instinct, yada yada, the evolutionary base of consumption, yada yada yada. Well, I would love to go to that, Liza, because I would love to have a chat with Jordan Peterson. The man worries me, actually. I'm not so sure this guy's on the up and up. In fact, I almost think he's already had a nervous breakdown. But by all means, go to it and let me know how it went. I haven't checked out any of these other people here, but the panel discussion is November 11th at the Canada Christian College. Well, the Canada Christian College, if I look it up, I will find it likely tied to the world churches, which immediately makes it skanky. I don't know. Peterson, I don't trust all his philosophy, and I don't trust his mixing biblical and philosophy together. They're not mixable. And this is what a lot of these free men on the land were doing, is mixing terms that can't be mixed. Like the difference between legal and law. Let's see, Canadian Christian College and School of Graduate Theological Studies is an evangelical Christian Bible college located in Toronto. It's president since 1993. Son founder Elmer. Now, I don't know how hard it will be to dig this out. I can't remember the exact terminology here, but it would be nice if it was clean. Introduction to World Religions. Religion. Yada, yada, yada. Oh, here we go. 3 monotheistic faiths: Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. Dr. Adria C. Peterson. Living Religions, Peterson, Assignment Canada, Christian College, Introduction to Old. I'd have to look through this, but I don't trust it. I really don't trust it. The Christian colleges is pretty well gone dirty. I know the churches that I went, or the church I grew up in, is as dirty as hell. And I know what it is. Let's see. If you're talking to Peterson, Liza, when you're at this function, and you run into Peterson, I'd really like to get him on the show. I mean, I like kind of what the guy's doing, but the more I look into it, World Council of Churches. They were the World Council of Churches, Way of Life Literature. They were celebrating the miracle of being lesbian. Well, that's wonderful. Let's see what I'm saying. The churches, and this is a college, a Canadian Christian college. I'm not 100% about this, but there's so few things anymore that are on the up and up. It's pretty spooky. So we'll have to see. This may be the one clean church. Who knows? Let's see. I'm going to look it up. I'm going to do a little research on it. And the guy that's running it and whatnot, because, it needs to be looked up. I think we're just about out of time here. That kind of got me off track. But when I seen Peterson's name, like what you get is when people go like Peterson, like he just went like a rocket ship, over this Black Lives Matter and the LGBTQ and the pronouns and stuff, and he got put up on a pedestal. He's making a fortune now doing this stuff. I know he did a Bible series, and I listened to a couple of them, and I'm really scratching my head. Because he's mixing he's mixing things that cannot be mixed together, no how, no way. He's talking about philosophy on one hand, and the Bible on the other hand. But it was the philosopher Nietzsche that was credited with killing God. So how the hell are you mixing these things together here, Mr. Peterson? You can't do it. Anyways, it's good to hear from you, Liza. And we're going to look a little more at the Chinese influx. Thursday night, I guess. We're out of time. I guess I'm going back to Tuesday. And remember, I'll have more.